Hi, my name is Lauren from ACA, and today we're going to talk about business phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are very common in English, but a lot of learners have trouble learning and using them appropriately. It can be very difficult to guess the meaning of the phrasal verb just by looking at the words individually. Sometimes the phrasal verb is more literal, for example, hear from, to receive communication. I didn't hear from the client. It can be more metaphorical, for example, get by, to survive. It's hard to get by only on minimum wage. So how do we construct the phrasal verb? A phrasal verb is composed of a verb and a particle, a preposition or adverb. Phrasal verbs act as a single verb, and the verb is conjugated just like regular verbs. The meaning of a verb and the verb used in the phrasal verb will also be very different. For example, get means to obtain. However, get by means to manage or survive. You can see how they're different. Some phrasal verbs are separable, meaning the verb and the particle can either be separate or together. I didn't write down any notes for the meeting. I didn't write any notes down for the meeting. Notice how separable phrasal verbs often take a direct object. When the direct object is a pronoun, we must separate the phrasal verb. Sorry, I didn't write it down. Inseparable phrasal verbs mean the verb and the particle must remain together. We need to get on with the meeting if we want to finish by lunchtime. One thing to note is that phrasal verbs with two particles will always be inseparable. Now that we understand phrasal verbs a bit better, let's take a look at 5 common phrasal verbs used in business. While there are many phrasal verbs out there, I just want to focus on a few for a moment. We'll examine them in detail, and I'll show you the different ways that we use them. All of these phrasal verbs are connected to meetings. It's much better to learn phrasal verbs that are connected in some way, rather than trying to learn them all at once. Let's start with join in. This means to participate or be involved in an activity. I want your input, so I want you to join in on a conference call this afternoon. Join in is inseparable. Push up. This means to move to an earlier date. For example, we need to push the meeting up to 11 instead of this afternoon. We need to push up the meeting to 11 instead of this afternoon. Push up can be separable or inseparable. Push back. This means to move to a later date. For example, I can come to the meeting, but I have to push back lunch. I can come to the meeting, but I have to push lunch back. Push back can be separable or inseparable. Call off. This means to cancel an event that was planned. For example, due to some new travel restrictions, we are calling off the company retreat. Due to some new travel restrictions, we are calling the company retreat off. This can be separable or inseparable. Pencil in. This means that an appointment or event is scheduled for a particular date but must be confirmed later. I don't have any availabilities for the moment, but I can pencil you in for Monday. This can be separable or inseparable. Phrasal verbs can be hard to learn, so I recommend learning just a few at a time. Once you get comfortable with those, choose a few more and practice those. Pick phrasal verbs that you see and hear often. This will give you some good opportunities to try them out. Hopefully this has helped you better understand phrasal verbs. Later on in the series, we're going to look at some more phrasal verbs. If you like this, please check out our website, lesbonmots.ca, for more videos as well as our podcast and blog. Bye for now.